In the beginning of the movie, we see Charlie and his girlfriend, Casey, finishing another day's work at Pereire, an entertainment service for people who want to take a ride in a single-engine plane and see the beautiful landscapes of the region. The next day, Charlie and Casey prepare the plane along with their helper, Benny. Shortly after, a car arrives, and from it comes the couple, Joe and Michelle, who had hired Pereire services for the whole day. After introducing themselves properly, they begin to board the plane. But before that, something strange happens between Benny and Michelle. Joe notices an unusual exchange of glances and starts to be rude to Benny. They soon take off and enjoy the stunning and breathtaking landscapes of the region. While on their way, they begin to talk about whether there might be sharks in the region they're heading to. Charlie, who has a background as a marine biologist, assures them there aren't, at least not at this time of year. When they arrive on the island, Casey informs them that the place was renamed Hell's Reef after a pearl hunter boat shipwrecked there in 1951. 8 crew members were stranded on that island for 15 days without water and food, with only one of them surviving, an 18-year-old Japanese boy. Michelle then reveals that this survivor was actually her grandfather and shows a photo of him. She also reveals her real motivation for being there, which is to fulfill his last wish, scattering his ashes there so he could rest with his friends who died in the shipwreck. Charlie and Casey stroll on the beach, talking and admiring dolphins and the beautiful scenery. Soon, Casey surprises Charlie by telling him she's pregnant. This leaves them worried but also happy. Suddenly, Benny calls them to show a dead person on the beach, killed by a shark attack. They comment on this shocking discovery, and before leaving, Benny mentions that the man's wife may still be alive. He says they need to find her because she wouldn't survive alone. Joe, wanting to return, tells them to leave the matter to the Coast Guard, but Charlie disagrees. They decide to check some places to see if they can find the woman. Moments later, they find an overturned boat and take a closer look. Benny decides to dive underwater while the others wait for him. Benny discovers it's the boat of the attacked couple. Inside, he is startled to find the woman's disfigured and bitten body. He quickly returns to the plane and tells them there's no hope, as the woman is also dead. This leaves the group worried about the situation. As they prepare to leave, Benny exchanges glances with Michelle before boarding. However, Michelle notices a shark rapidly approaching, and it soon attacks the plane, causing Benny to fall into the water. The attack damages the plane's floating base, causing it to begin sinking. Benny grabs an inflatable raft, and the group heads towards it. Before leaving, Charlie tries to send a distress call on the radio, but they have to hurry as the plane keeps sinking. The dangerous shark circles them, leaving the life raft as their only chance for survival. The plane completely sinks, leaving Charlie frustrated and the group adrift. The group assesses their desperate situation. They are 150 kilometers away from the coast, and even if help comes, it could take days to find them. Charlie explains that, for now, the current is in their favor, but they'll need to row for a day to reach any safe place. Joe is very unhappy with the situation, creating a tense atmosphere between him and Charlie, who nervously asks if Joe has a better plan. Charlie suggests returning to the land they departed from earlier. The couple worries about the shark in the water, but Charlie reassures them it might go away. They begin to row, facing the vast expanse of water ahead, and using his compass, Charlie guides them toward their destination. However, the creature follows them underwater, a large great white shark. Moments later, inside the boat, Charlie asks Benny about the shark, and Benny says the creature must be at least 5 meters long. While Casey helps Michelle with her wound, Michelle talks about why Joe is irritated. She explains that he has a fear of water due to an accident when he was younger, but she convinced him to go on this trip, which unfortunately is turning into a nightmare. The group continues their journey in search of solid ground. Meanwhile, the large shadow of the shark in the water follows them closely. To make matters worse, it's not just one shark. Another one soon appears ahead. The group takes turns rowing and resting. Suddenly, Joe is startled to see a fin next to the raft. Thinking it's a shark, he starts rowing harder, shouting for the shark to go away. Benny calms him down, saying it's just a harmless pair of dolphins. After calming down, they continue rowing. Time passes, and night falls again. At one point, a frustrated Joe talks to the group, saying he's a great analyst and, after analyzing their situation, estimates their chance of survival to be less than 5%. He questions Charlie, the good marine biologist, about the shark's absence. Charlie admits he doesn't know why it hasn't attacked yet. Pressured by Joe, Charlie confesses that the creature is still nearby, which worries them even more. Wanting to reach their destination as quickly as possible, Michelle pushes herself to the maximum, rowing so much that her hands become calloused. Joe tears his shirt to cover her hands. Moments later, exhausted, some of them fall asleep, including Michelle. She accidentally lets the oar fall into the water, where the creature observes them. Michelle wakes up and tells the group she dropped the oar. Fortunately, it isn't far, but someone needs to retrieve it. Seeing his fear, Casey decides to go get it. Charlie tries to stop her, but she insists she'll be fine. Carefully, Casey goes into the water, avoiding making noise. She retrieves the oar and returns to the raft, but as she swims back, a fin appears behind her. Frightened, she quickly swims back. The creature dives back into the depths, and the group is relieved that Casey is okay. However, they grow more frightened knowing the creature continues to lurk nearby. Amid the vast sea, Benny and Joe continue to row while Casey and Michelle change into warmer clothes. But Michelle struggles. Benny offers to help her, but Joe, feeling jealous, pushes Benny away. They argue, and in the heat of the moment, Joe pushes Benny out of the boat. Benny reappears in the water, struggling to return to the boat due to an injured arm. But before he can climb aboard, the creature drags him underwater and kills him. The group is left saddened by the loss and angry with Joe. Time passes and they drink rainwater to stay hydrated. While checking their belongings, Charlie finds a knife and tells everyone that if he could get close enough to the creature, he could strike its tiny brain. Casey dismisses the idea, saying it's a bad plan. Charlie agrees and puts away the equipment. The creature continues lurking nearby, but the group, unaware of its exact location, keeps rowing. Suddenly, the shark overturns the raft, causing everyone to fall into the sea. Fearing the worst, they scramble to return to the raft. Unfortunately, only Casey, Charlie, and Michelle make it back. Joe is killed by the terrifying shark. Shaken by the loss, Michelle tries to go after her husband, but Charlie stops her and tries to calm her down. Suddenly, Joe resurfaces, badly injured. The group tries to reach him, but the creature drags him away again. At dawn, feeling hopeless, Michelle scatters her grandfather's ashes into the water, asking for his soul to care for her husband's. Seeing Michelle's resilience, Casey tries to comfort her, urging her not to give up as they still have a chance to survive. Unfortunately, Charlie delivers some bad news. The shark punctured the raft. With that, their chance of escape is slipping away as the raft is losing air and won't float much longer. Moments later, even without one of the paddles, Casey and Michelle paddle with their hands while Charlie improvises a harpoon using the remaining paddle and the knife he had. The two rest for a moment, but then the creature reappears. Charlie prepares to attack it, but the shark circles them closely. Soon, Charlie realizes it's not just one shark but two. One of the sharks attacks the boat, causing Casey to fall into the water. Charlie quickly pulls her back in, and the three huddle together to stay safe. While they slept, they failed to notice the boat getting drier and water pooling inside. When they wake up, they realize the beach is only a few meters away. Excitedly, they push harder to reach solid ground as quickly as possible. However, danger approaches again. To make matters worse, the boat won't float much longer. Charlie devises a plan. He grabs his equipment and a signaling gun, handing it to Casey. He tells Michelle to swim to the beach, while he and Casey stay behind to face the two sharks. Charlie lures one of the sharks toward them, and Casey shoots it in the mouth. Charlie mounts the shark and begins piercing its head until he hits a fatal spot. With one shark dead, they search for the other, which is now following Michelle. Fearing for her life, Michelle climbs onto a sunken boat near the beach. The shark, deciding to look for easier prey, turns back. Wanting to protect Casey, Charlie pushes her aside and is attacked by the creature, which kills him. Saddened by this, Casey decides to move on and reaches Michelle. The two lament the loss of their husbands, but their moment of grief doesn't last long. The creature approaches them again, knocking them back into the water. Casey comes up with a plan and lures the shark toward her to give Michelle a chance to reach the beach. Casey swims into the sunken boat, still followed by the shark. She hides but is soon found. The shark forcefully enters the boat's compartment, causing debris to fall on it, trapping it. Casey, cornered, gets her breathing apparatus caught on an iron bar and runs out of air, passing out. Fortunately, Michelle decides to return and help Casey. Sharing her air, Michelle revives Casey. Casey spots a sharp iron bar above the creature's head. She hits the support holding the bar, causing the sharp piece to fall and impale the shark's head, killing it. The film ends with Casey and Michelle leaving the water and arriving on the island's beach, feeling relieved to be alive. However, they now face a new challenge, surviving hunger and thirst. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.